Hello artists, and welcome back to Art at Home with Mrs. Kellogg. Well, this is a pretty special week because this is the week we celebrate Earth Day, April 22nd. So I thought it would be fun to create some Earth Day inspired art. And I'm hoping that this lesson inspires you and reminds you of how important it is to take care of our planet by doing just simple everyday things, conserving water, recycling, or picking up and throwing out your trash. Now, meet me over at my workspace because I want to tell you a little bit more about the art lesson and the art supplies you will need. This is an example of the Earth Day inspired art we are going to create for today's project. And as you can tell, I was very inspired by all the different regions of California. The mountain region, the desert region, the plains region, and the coastal region where we live. I thought about all the wonderful gifts the earth gives us. For example, the water, the air, the sunshine, and all the different animals, the fish. There's just so many things that the earth gives us. So I wanted to create a poster that would honor and thank the earth for all the wonderful gifts the earth gives us. So that's what inspired me, and I hope that inspires you to create your own original Earth Day poster. Now let me tell you the art supplies you will need for today's project. You're going to need a pencil with an eraser, and you're also going to need a ruler that will help you make your letters. And you'll also need something to help you make that circle. So I recommend lids, or even an old bowl will help you do that. But if you are going to be using some household items, always ask your parents first. I've also included a link to a circle template that you can print out. The link is located right underneath this video on the Arts website. And if you decide to use that template and you'd like to cut it out, make sure you don't forget your scissors. And if you're going to glue it to your watercolor paper, you'll need a glue stick. You're going to need a paper, and the size is up to you, but make sure that it's thick enough to apply watercolor to. I'm also going to be using a fine tip Sharpie marker for my lettering, and I'll be using some colored pencils or oil pastels for this project. You can also use markers. We are going to paint. You want to have your paintbrush, your watercolor set, a cup filled with water, and a paper towel. Those are the items you will need for today's project. And you guessed it, there is one more thing. Make sure that you put down your art mat or newspaper before you start your project. Those are the materials you will need for today's project. Now would be a great time for you to pause the video, gather your materials, set up your workspace, and meet me back here, and we'll start creating Earth Day inspired art. Did you get your materials? Great, then let's get started. The first step is to draw your circle and center it on your art paper. So I'm going to use a bowl to trace my circle. Once I have that done, the second step is to place my words. And I want to show you how I did this. So I took my ruler and I drew a line going across on the top and on the bottom, and then I wrote my letters out. And I did the same thing on the top here. So the top line and then the bottom line. That made it a lot easier to write my letters, and I created block lettering. And I'm just going to show you on the back how to do that. So for example, I want my letters about that big. I'm going to try to, with my capital letters, I want to touch this line and this line. So it's a guide for me. Now I want to make them block lettering. So I'm going to take these lines and make them shapes. And you can use any style of lettering that you want. You could use just line lettering or the block lettering where you make those lines into shapes. and in any style that you would like. Once you're done writing your letters, then your next step is, after you use your marker to shade in your block letters, then what you'll do is use your eraser and erase your guidelines. Then after I finish my lettering and I've got my circles centered, then it's time to draw in some of the regions that I was inspired by. So for example, my mountain region and my coastal region. So I'm going to work from the bottom going up. So notice everything I'm doing, I'm using shape. So I'm using a lot of ovals and triangles for the fish. Now I have my main shapes for my earth or region pictures here. So my next step is I want to add some more earth elements around my region or earth circle here. So I want to place a sun in the corner, and I'm going to use triangles as the rays. Crescent for the moon. So everything's shaped. And then I think I'll draw some stars and planets. So ring of Saturn. And then for my stars. Then I can shade the stars in with my marker or my oil pastels or colored pencils. Then once I'm done with my drawing, I'm going to take my markers, I'm going to trace all my big shapes, and then I'm going to add color. Now would be a great time for you to pause the video and start by using your bowl or lid to draw the circle for where you're going to draw your region or earth pictures. And then remember to use your ruler to draw your guidelines so you can put in your lettering, and then draw your pictures and design the rest of your poster. After you're finished with that, trace everything and then meet me back here and we'll start adding color to our Earth Day poster. Did you finish drawing and tracing your Earth Day poster? Great. Now it's time to add some color, and as you can tell, I already got a head start and started adding some of my color in. So the main thing that I thought about was repeating colors and thinking about putting lighter colors next to darker colors to get those shapes to stand out. So whatever colors you choose, just keep thinking about repeating your colors and those light dark patterns. Now, since I've finished adding my oil pastels, my next step is I want to add some watercolor into the background. So that's what I'm going to do now. And in the background, I want to add a little bit of green next to that blue to separate those shapes. You can mix colors or you could keep colors separate. It's really up to you. There's a few things I want to remind you of when you're painting. Remember to clean your brush every time you use a new color. And there's certain colors, if you mix them, they're going to go gray-brown on you. So remember, when you mix blue and orange, you're going to get a gray-brown because they're complementary colors, and that's what happens when you mix complementary colors. Those colors opposite on the color wheel, and green and red will go brown, and purple and yellow will go gray-brown. So that's something to keep in mind when you're painting. Remember, you're the artist, and however you decide to design your Earth Day poster is up to you. I'm going to finish adding color and painting my poster. Now it's your turn. I hope this lesson inspires you to do things to take care of our Earth. If we all work together, we can make a big difference in saving our planet just by doing some simple things. For example, if you're eating outside on the playground or at a park or at the beach, make sure you pick up all your trash and throw it out. Or maybe don't use as many plastic containers or recycle your plastic. You can conserve water. Remember, after you wash your hands, don't forget to turn off the water. There's lots of ways we can work together to keep our planet healthy. Well, that wraps up our Earth Day inspired art lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I want you to always remember when you are creating art to relax, have lots of fun, and keep creating.